The Wednesday week is sponsored by the Riverside Cafe, new outside bar, now open on match days.
There's a chance here, a great save. A turner from the clear. Mike Hunt, a terrific goal by Sheridan.
Brexman against Jones. Get in.
You could have two goalkeepers in there, they would have trouble with saving that.
Hello there, ladies and gentlemen, and a very warm welcome to the Wednesday Week, the Sheffield Wednesday podcast. I'm Lord Hillsborough, with me online. First of all, we have our ever-ready Mr. Marriott. Jamesy Holbein, how the devil are you?
Yeah, hopefully my microphone switched on this week. Hello? Hello? Come in. Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Can't hear you.
Just before we go any further, can we have a chat about Wolves away?
Oh, for God's sake.
There shall be ample opportunity for you to waffle about Wolves away. Of course, on the line there as well, you heard Mr. Dickie Owl. Richie, oh boy, how the devil are you?
Good evening. I'm fantastic, my lord. I'm just recovering from it. I've been out tonight and had what us Northerners call, been out for some tea, not supper, like some of our upper class friends describe it as.
Upper class? You've promoted us.
Yeah. Hey, yeah, he's going for middle to upper in my books, I tell you.
And speaking of someone that will never be upper class, Fudge, oh boy, how the devil are you, my friend?
How dare you? I tell you what it was though with supper. I'm pretty sure that supper is an acceptable word in the north for us working class folk, as long as it's just like a glass of milk and a couple of biscuits. You know what I mean? If it's if you're navigating Rocket Leaf or you're having a lovely glass of wine with it, then that's just having dinner. You know what I mean?
No, it's not dinner. It's tea. Dinner's 12 o'clock.
Oh, but this is where it falls down, and I always get brought up on it down here. For me, it goes breakfast, dinner, and tea. I agree with you, and maybe supper if I fancy a glass of milk and a biscuit. But like, you wouldn't take somebody out at 7 o'clock. Let's say, I'll come round yours. I'll take you out for us tea. You know what I mean? It doesn't make any. You take her out for dinner, and I understand it.
He's still taking. Me and Paula have been out for tea. It's about 7 o'clock.
Look. I'm sorry, but the Guardian referred to it as supper. Therefore, it is supper.
What?
While we're on the subject, how would you describe a tea cake? Anyway, right.
Move on.
No, please. Right then, ladies and gents, let's crack on then, shall we? First things first, we have the Fulham game to speak about. Now, of course, Fulham have been doing rather well. Unfortunately, I missed the chat. If anybody last week, did anybody say I would take a draw before this game? Because if they did, there's going to be trouble at Mill. But this one, we saw a bit of the old Wednesday back, didn't we?
It's an away game. You should always take a draw, shouldn't you, on an away game?
You said chuffed, you chuffing chuffer. We should never, ever, ever take a draw. But, again, looking at that side, James Hutch in the middle, where he should be. Fessi started to come back on form. Are we seeing a little glimpse of what we should have?
It was described in the Star, wasn't it, as a little bit like Return of the Old Guard, like kind of going backwards a little bit. We've got Ross Wallace back in the team. We've got Hutch playing the role that, I've made it pretty clear that I think it's the role that he's best suited to and where he should play. And I think we're a better team. And I thought that first half, I thought we played really well. Second half, I don't think we were quite as good, and I think Fulham came back into it, and it sort of felt a little inevitable that they were going to score. Certainly, stood there on the terrace at the time, it felt like that when they scored, it was almost like an inevitability, and it kind of felt at the time like, well, they probably deserve a point out of it. Having read some match reviews afterwards, watched some highlights, and thought about it a little, I'm not actually sure if they did deserve a point or whether we should have killed the game off, because we had chances in the first half to kill the game off. And kind of same old Wednesday in terms of the fact that we weren't clinical enough. We didn't take those chances that we'd got. Positives from the game. Fessi back to being his best. He was man of the match for me. I thought he was great. He looked lively. He looked like the player that we fell in love with last season. Great to have Hutch back in his role. Great to have Louvens back, actually. I thought he looked really solid. And actually, I thought the makeup of the team and the formation and everything in that regard was really good. Maybe a substitution that was a little bit strange or two. Maybe Hutch had to go off because he was doing his damnedest to get sent off. And yeah, just all went a little bit wrong in that last kind of 15-20 minutes. Fudge,
agree.
you were there. Do you? Hi, Fudge. Do you remember more of it than I do?
Yeah, I was only about 4 or 5 pints in. So I agree with you in terms of, I think when you balance it up, I think a draw, given the whole 90 minutes in terms of a collective, was a fair result. However, like you say, I think we could have gone into that half-time break 2 or 3-0 up. Now, I said something, I think it was in the pub afterwards, quite controversial. Like you said about back to the old guard, I don't think we played many of our new signings, if not any, apart from what, the goalie? I mean,
Mr. Reach, did he play?
Reach was outstanding, actually. If I get that right. Sorry, yes. So, and I made the statement in the pub after. I don't see where Stephen Fletcher fits in this team. I think he's a cracking player, and I think when he gets the ball away from himself, he's absolutely marauding. He can really bear down on defenders, but I don't think he fits in to our team. I don't think he fits into where we were last season. I don't think he's made our team any better, and I think that was highlighted given that we played, let's say, 90% of last season's team. And we looked absolutely beautiful. I mean, seriously, some of the little interplays that we had. I mean, we've all seen the goal, the build-up to the goal. That was reminiscent of a good 4 or 5 decent, parts of play through the game. But then Hutch went off. Fletcher came on at some point, and it just didn't gel anymore. It stopped cohesing.
That's rather controversial because a lot of people have said that Fletcher's been doing fantastically well in that position.
Well, yeah, he has. Yeah, he has. And don't get me wrong, I still think there's a future for him, but we were or have been better without him, and that's my point. You know what I mean?
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, does it point to what we've been saying and what a lot of Wednesday have been saying that Hutch, that position, as James said, it's Hutch's, isn't it? I mean, he came on, he sort of held the ball really well. He made the defence a little bit more confident, I thought. Of course, he ploughed into people and got his yellow card because it's Hutch, isn't it?
Yes.
Bless him. I'd have been disappointed if he hadn't. But I think that was obviously, and Fessi being back on form, were the two sort of mainstays of that game, weren't they?
Hutch was tremendous. Although some of his challenges were, it's like a different person in that position, isn't it? It's like almost like a kamikaze player. Like, I must get booked. I must get booked. I'd love to know the thought process that goes through his head when he makes some of those challenges, because he did well to only get 1 yellow. To be fair, he was throwing himself all over the place. But that's what he does. We've just got to accept that. And we are a better team with him playing in that position than him playing at centre half. And I think we're a better team with Louvens in the back four as well.
Do you think there's less pressure on him playing in that position? Because when he's at the back, if he does one of those tackles and jumps in, and it's invariably in the area, it is every chance of a penalty. Whereas he's a bit higher up the field, he's not kind of jumping in, and it's a 50-50 to whether he makes it and gets a yellow card or gives away, a penalty or whatever. So whether that takes some pressure off him, I don't know.
I don't know. He wasn't picking up bookings playing at centre half, was he?
No, not at all.
His disciplinary record was that of a normal person. He gets back to centre mid, and he turns into this crazed psychopath who's just going around assaulting people for the hell of it. So it's a funny one. I don't know, but we've just got to play him there. We've got to play him there.
As you say, I think obviously the back looked a little bit more solid with Louvens back there as well. There is that bit of extra height with Louvens at the back as well, isn't it? Because there's always been that worry at the moment. I mean, they're not exactly what you call small chaps, but they're not big either, are they? And sometimes you just like to see a big, lofty Louvens-type shape defender back there just whack everything out. And it has to be said as well against Fulham, Mr. Hunt did some really, really good defending. He was throwing himself in front of the ball, blocked 2 really good shots. At one point, he actually sort of wrapped his legs around the ball, because if anybody had hit it, it would have probably entered his gentleman's area rather than just bounce off of it. It was so close to the damn ball. And so he really did put everything on the line for that one. But Hunty did have a good defensive game, which is not something we've said a terrible large amount of.
Ramon Hunt. Ramon. It must be. It must be. It was a different player, that. Yeah, normally coming forward, he's brilliant, and then defensively, you kind of wonder who was it that ever told him he should be a defender. But he was excellent. Yeah, really good.
I think Carlos has gone back to what he knows. You know, obviously what served him so well last season and served us so well. You know, we've changed it and we put different players in there, and it doesn't seem to work. But I don't think it's the defensive midfield that's the issue now. I think it's putting the ball in the back of the net. So what do you go back to with that? You know, what was last year? What was Hooper and Fessi? Now.
As Jay said, the answers are there. I mean, there was one that came across and Bannon just sort of cracked it on the volley, and which wasn't very far away at all. If that had gone, it'd been a corker. And of course, Hooper did have his chance as well, didn't he? Sort of fluffed his lines.
Oh, it was beautiful, the play as well. The build-up was beautiful, and that one we all willed in. I think it was the other end of the pitch to us, and we were blowing it in like. Oh, Gary.
And it looked like it was going to go in as well. It really did look like it was going to go in.
Blowing Gary Hooper in.
Yeah.
But again, Fulham, we can't just sort of turn his nose up at us. They're not had the best start to the season, but just recently they've been flying, haven't they? Obviously, the battered Huddersfield, which I know Fudge was very happy about, obviously putting Huddersfield back in the box. But if 5-0 they beat Huddersfield, something like that. Then they beat Brentford, who have not been too shoddy this season, and then, of course, drew against us. So I think that's a fair result, shall we say. Maybe not the result we wanted, but maybe, is it fair to say a fair result?
I think what frustrated me, I mean, I didn't go down, so you know, I'm not in a kind of a place to comment a great deal.
You didn't go down to blow Hooper.
Correct. That's very true. Yes. Or to Fulham, to Fulham. And I've lost my track now. I don't know what I was going to bloody say. No, I think what disappointed. No, I know what I was going to say. What disappointed me was I think the reaction on social media afterwards. All the people asking for Carlos to go, and I'm guessing they were like me. They didn't actually go, and they're probably just saying, "Yeah, we'd like a goal in the 91st minute, and let's implode. Let's it's as worse it's ever been, and it's not really that bad, is it?"
It can be difficult. I mean, unfortunately, I don't get to as many matches as I would like, but I do have the benefit of the good old Wednesday player, and which shows the full match, which obviously in this particular situation is brilliant because you get to see the whole thing. Of course, you also get Mr. Pearson's commentating skills as well. Oh, I just love listening to John Pearson commentating because he's not a commentator; he's just a fan sat in the commentator's box, isn't he? It's brilliant. I love him to bits. It is nice to be able to sort of sit, relax. Obviously, I know you guys, when you're down there, you might have I've heard tell that you've had a beverage or two, so
might be true.
And it can be difficult to obviously analyse it properly when you're there, or as best you possibly can. Don't get me wrong, I'm not claiming that I'm any kind of an expert in any way, long shot or form.
It is. I think what you don't get from TV, and this is why I like watching football live, is the feeling. You know what I mean? You can hear those people chuntering behind you in that voice that I keep doing, and you know what I mean. Go, the one bloody hell is bloody rubbish.
Didn't we do that for about an hour in the pub after the game?
Oh, we got told off by the bouncer. But like you get the feeling, you get a general consensus of what's going off, and then sometimes after the game, you'll go onto Twitter or somewhere and you'll go, Christ, were they watching the same one as me? I mean, that was a well-rounded, good game of football. You know, it was exciting. It weren't end to end. I mean, they had majority of the ball. We went 1-0 up in the first 10 minutes. We could have had 2 or 3, and then those last 10 minutes were absolutely, heart in mouth time. So, it was a great, well-balanced game. But I thought, well, that was probably at the end of the day, you get a fair result. And then just you open your phone and it's just meltdown. Just bloody rubbish.
I think having read friend of the show, Joe Cran's article from The Sun today, he hits it absolutely nail on the head. It's probably at the same place we were last season. We're not everybody thinks we're worse off, but that's because our expectations are higher. But we're actually probably, we are in the same position, you know what I mean? And we kicked on from about this time last year. So what's everybody worried about?
If I was to sort of play devil's advocate for the bloody rubbish brigade, which is a wonderful thing to call them from now on, yes, we're in the same position, but we have spent a lot more money. However,
are you being a happy clapper?
No, I'm trying to put lots of, because it's all well and good us agreeing on everything, but there's people out there that don't agree with us, Richie, old boy, and we have to make their views aired as well. Yes, clearly they're wrong, but it has to be big. And there is the argument that yes, we are in the same position, but we've spent a lot of money. But again, look at the teams that are around. They've also spent a lot of money as well. Haven't they?
It's football. People spend money, and they're probably looking at teams like Newcastle, who are, for all intents and purposes, as it stands, tearing away with the league. And they've spent a lot of money, and we've done the same. Why has it not happened for us? And I do get that to an extent. There's also so much on Twitter that I can take of, well, look where we were 18 months ago. It's gone now. It's old news. Do you know what I mean? I can't. So I'm falling out the happy clapper camp, if I'm honest. But again, I know, but it wasn't until, I think it was Boxing Day against Birmingham City last year, did we absolutely just turn up and go, this is us for the season now. And like Rich says, it's something where it took us a couple of months for it all to come and all to gel and all to cohese. And then all of a sudden we turned into a decent team that were beating Brighton in their own back garden. You know what I mean? And that will happen. And if it's not happened by the end of January, if it's not happened by February, then we might need to start to take a look at changing personnel. However, essentially what I'm saying is I'm ready for a tear up, but I'm going to give him 4 months on it. You know what I mean?
Preparing yourself, mounting yourself up, Albie. Right, so let's put Fulham to bed, shall we? And we'll crack on with the scant little bit of Wednesday news we have. First things first, Mr. Vardy has released his biography of sorts, and the first page is a rather interesting one, isn't it, chaps?
Yeah,
you ready?
It's all about Hurst, isn't it? It's brilliant. I've got no interest in reading the rest of the book, but the first page, top notch. Whoever did a screenshot of that and put it on Twitter, thank you very much. Very nice of you.
There was quite a few people that did that screenshot, wasn't it?
Whoever's gone to the trouble of buying Jamie Vardy's book just to see if it mentions the Wednesday. There you are.
You'll have to enlighten me. I've not seen it, so you're gonna have to enlighten me on this.
It's pretty much what if any of us were remotely important enough to do an autobiography. If anyone would actually give a shit about reading what we've got to say about stuff, it would be how we would start our autobiography, which is that we all remember David Hurst in the 90s. That's who we wanted to be, and that's pretty much what Jamie Vardy said. And it's quite. I mean, it's sort of nice because it is probably what any Wednesday fan would actually say about football. That they remember watching Hursty in the 90s and wanting to be him. Only Jamie Vardy bloody well went and did it, didn't he?
Hang on, James. Wednesday fan of a certain age would want, because what I find hilarious is that there are probably some kids that all they ever wanted to be when they were growing up was Gerald Seaborn. You know what I mean?
Gosh.
Yeah. Who did you want to be when you grew up? Imagine in some of George Hurst's teammates. Right in there. It's 20 years after today. It's the year 2036, and one of George Hurst's teammates has turned around and said, all I ever wanted to be was Gillian Sumbu and Dungle.
But no, I just it is nice because obviously Vardy has his problems, shall we say, with the Wednesdays. Obviously, there's been the rumours that he was deemed too small for the squad, etc. We've all heard all that kind of nonsense, and for him to still make that at the opening page of the book, he just shows that obviously we're all Wednesday, aren't we? And once you've had that little bit of a brain up with it never leaves you, does it? How can David Hurst possibly leave you?
I don't think he's too worried about the fact that Wednesday released him anymore. I think he's probably over it now. His career's kind of moved on a little bit, and he's doing all right for himself.
Yeah,
I'm
seem like
guessing there's no real hard feelings there now. No.
Well, we shall see. Well, we'll probably have to read the rest of the book to find out, wouldn't we? If somebody could just tweet pictures of the other sort of 10,
Wednesday
15,
bits,
yeah, absolutely. Just tweet away.
Or send us a copy, Jamie, if you're listening, or if anyone's listening that has got his phone number. Just say, look, get a copy to the Wednesday week. I'll read it. That's fine.
Here's a question. Where would you find all of the following in one place? Chairs, tables, beer, Vic, James, more beer, Dick Yow, Eddie, more beer, and the rest of the Wednesday week gang. That's right, it's the Riverside Cafe's new outside bar. All of your favourite lagers, ciders, soft drinks and hand pump ales are now available outside. Come and see the gang and give it a try. The Riverside Cafe's new outside bar, now open on match days.
Next little bit of winter news. Guys, did you see this fantastic tweet from Mr. Forestieri and his new foosball table?
How good is that? How good is that?
Now, when you were kids, obviously we all wanted to be David Hurst, but how good would that have been to have in your bed? Come and do an opening of that Christmas Day when you were 9. Jesus Christ, that'd been amazing. It's
That's just pocket change to him, though, isn't it? You know, he's been out and spent. Oh, let's go spend 10 grand on a foosball table, and we'll make it look like Hillsborough.
Thing is with it though, because I mean, Fessi, we all love him to bits, of course we do, but he's only a little chap. The foosball table's quite high, isn't it, to get the actual? Do you think he can see over that? Bless him.
No, he's got a little box that he stands on that's in the shape of Bramall Lane, and he's.
He'll have got them little stools that kids use to pee. You know, when they're about 2 or 3 and they get a little stool that you shove up to the toilet. He'll got a few of them around the table at various points.
What made me laugh is that so a few days before that he tweeted about how him and his wife are expecting their first child, and then like 3 days later or whatever, he's like, "Oh my god, I've got the best football table in the world," and I could just imagine his wife sat there on a Twitter feed going, like, tapping her fingers on the table. I'm not happy about this.
My favourite bit of it was the scoreboard. How good was that? Yeah, like actual electric lights and the scoreboard on it. That was fantastic.
It's brilliant.
Somebody has spent too much time on their hands. You know what I mean? If Fessi's missus probably sent him out to buy nappies and baby oil, and he's come back with the foosball. You know what I mean? It's just like when Sean sends me out to buy potatoes and I come back with more Lego. It's that same sort of thing.
Get all my kids' food.
If I'd have thought on and actually done some research for this show, it would have been interesting to see which tweet got the most retweets from Wednesday nights. The one about Fessi announcing the wonderful news that they're expecting, or the one that he's got this marvellous new foosball table.
Oh, it's the foosball by a mile.
It is going to be the foosball table, isn't it? That.
You keep talking. I'm going to find out the answer to this one. You keep talking.
Absolutely. I mean, everyone has children, don't they? You know, children. It's very sweet and everything, but not everyone gets a foosball table like that.
Children are easy to come by. That would have been really expensive, that thing.
So which
could
one
adopt children.
Which one do you think got the most retweets?
It's got to be foosball.
Foosball.
It was a foosball table by 1,404 retweets for the foosball table and 286 about his missus being pregnant.
Yeah,
who gives a shit?
Oh, that's awful. That's so bad. But again, we've got to remember that when that baby grows up, check out the foosball table it's going to have. Do you think he'll actually let his child play on that when they get older? Or do you think he's not in bed worth thinking about?
Nah.
Now, do you think this is obviously Fessi is getting the love back from Wednesday fans, and we all saw the change at Fulham. I was also watching the Alan Briggs Sheffield programme, and Bully was on it this week.
Was you watching it? Was it just you were a viewer?
Well, I watched it on YouTube. I like Alan Briggs; he's a nice chap. And Bully was on there as well. It's always nice to hear Bully speak in his Bully type tones. And he was mentioning that recently Fessi has been turning up to training. He's smiling again. He's laughing again. He's like, I don't know. Do you think it's the love's coming from the Wednesday fans or the team? But there's certainly that bit of a change happening again, isn't it? I mean, Bully mentioned that he comes from obviously a rather rough background and he's quite an emotional player and one thing and another. And whatever's happening, it's done in the world of good, hasn't it?
Yeah, it has. Yeah. We've all said he's not quite been right, and you know he's been saying all the right things publicly, but you know I think he's obviously had something in his own mind that he's had to sort out and get sorted, and for whatever reason it's clicked into place during the international break. It sounds like him and Carlos have had a really good chat about things, and he's kind of psychologically where he needs to be now in order to crack on and move forward, which is Well, it's brilliant. It's a shame that it has to be like that. We can all sit around and go, well, if you're being paid £10,000-15,000 a week or whatever, you can't afford to have an off week, or you can't afford to not quite feel right about things. But the problem for a footballer is it's all they've ever known. So everything's relative, and it doesn't kind of work that way. But I'm just pleased that the signs are now that we've got the Fessi back that we know and love.
The jury's still out for me. I'll be honest. I'm hoping he is on his. I'm hoping it's going to turn out right and he's going to be all right. But the jury's still out for me yet. I've yet to see. Obviously, I wasn't at Fulham, but yeah.
Don't get me wrong. I wouldn't be surprised if he went in January. I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah, that's where I'm kind of heading with it.
Yeah.
Don't worry, chaps. I've got a whole range of Sheffield Wednesday toys on its way for Fessi. We've got a nice little space hopper with a Wednesday badge on it as well. A lovely little Sky Electric on its way. So we're going to keep him pleased right through until the end.
What about a towel with the logo on? Have you got them back yet?
Of course.
What about like a Guess Who, but like a Where Are They Now style?
Probably it only lasts 1 week and then it breaks.
Oh shit! Yeah.
Speaking of sort of historical news, Richie you popped a little tweet out that caused maybe a little bit of controversy from the Wednesday Week Twitter feed just
yes,
today.
I did today. Yes, yeah. In 2007, on this very day, on the 23rd of November, our chairman at the time, Mr. David Allen, resigned. And there's a lovely picture of him looking all very
pleased.
Yes, pleased. How could I say that without swearing and calling him various names? Yes, he looked very pleased with himself. Yes.
All Wednesday fans have their views on Mr. Allen and what happened at that particular point in the club's history. I'm sure you guys have your particular views on him, or I think this one is one that we can sort of share, can't we?
I think from being involved with Wednesday, after I may add he'd gone, a lot of the people that were there that Erminity called a venomous bitch, and certain other people that I'm trying to say this the right way here. Certain other people that he didn't treat very well at all in the Wednesday supporting kind of fraternity. I really don't give two shits about him.
So you've not prepared any kind of where is he now for us there, Rich? Although we know where he is.
Apparently he sat down in his office with some jazz pictures on his walls and just counted his money from Napoleon's.
No, he went to Chesterfield, didn't he? And he's left them up shit creek. I think.
£6 million, is it? He's got in that club. Yeah.
Yeah, he literally. He went and bought a controlling share in Chesterfield, and then it was only the other week. I'm pretty sure he said he wanted the other fellas that he'd gone in with to go to write off the debts. Like, excuse me, you know all that money we owe you? I don't know why it's Dom Howson now.
Why is Dom Howson in charge of Chesterfield?
He's gone, excuse me, Mr. Man, all that money we owe you, can we not pay it? And they've gone, no. And he's gone, we'll take to this then, and then resigned. You know what I mean? Which apparently you can do in business. Apparently that's the thing.
I think all podcasters who are saying disparaging things about them, well, I call them podcasters, cretins, which is what they are.
Yeah, that's a great word.
No, I mean I still watch that video every now and then just to kind of cheer myself up sometimes. Maybe if we've lost a game, and I just kind of need to remind myself that it's not all that bad. Just watch the video of when our chairman and shareholder at the time referred to us all as cretins. Kind of thing. It's not that bad.
Can you post that this evening on our Twitter account or Facebook, or just so we can all reminisce?
Yeah, I'll dig that video out.
Right, so obviously these days the club is run slightly differently to way back then, and our lovely, wonderful new chairman actually gives us the opportunity to go in and maybe have a little chat about some of our views, don't we? And I believe for the first time that members of the Wednesday week will be for the second time. I apologise,
yes.
We will be attending the steering group.
That's right. Yes, I've blagged an invite along with James. On Monday night, so it'll be good to see what Mr. if I could say his name, Mr. Chansiri even has got to say. and find out what's the thinking behind the no stand and all that kind of stuff. So if you've got any questions that you'd like us to ask him, don't send them in.
I mean, luckily we have a chap that's very, very good at asking particular types of questions, don't we, Fudgy?
It's funny, yeah.
I wonder who his favourite member of Little Mix is. If you are there, could one of you just put your hand up and just, solid, straight face go, how do you change the oil filter on a 1997 Toyota Celica? And if he gives you a cracking, succinct answer, then fair play. Who did I ask it to? It was Chris Waddle. He did it ask Waddle, and I asked him who his favourite member of Little Mix was, and he said the Geordie one. And then I asked him the 97 Celica one, and he went, I don't know, YouTube it. I'm thinking, brilliant. I'm getting solid advice here from Chris Waddle. So what I want to know is from Dave Chansiri, does he like the Geordie one, like Chris Waddle, or that one from Wickham that shouldn't have grown her hair long? Nobody knows. People want to know these things.
The best one I've had, similar to that, was at Hursty's bar. It was in Dooley, so it wasn't a big attendance that night. I think it was Andy Boo talking about his Warnock days, and there's David Ford was on the panel as well. And some of you may be aware that David Ford has a central heating company in Sheffield, and Nigel Shaw got up and asked him. He says, "I've got a question from my dad here. That's been really kind of getting he's wondered about ever since he saw you first play for Wednesday." And it was basically a question about his central heating system.
But did he
answer it as well? Yeah, he did answer it. Yeah,
Good old Mr. Ford. But no, I mean, if you do have any questions, I mean, obviously there are questions that do need to be asked, serious, proper questions that need to be asked, and of course then there's the questions about the Celica as well. Personally, I know which ones I'd be more interested in, because although I don't own a Celica, I'm sure it'd be very interesting to find out.
I have a question. And maybe one of you guys can answer this. If not, I'm going to ask this on Monday, because until this week I'd never come across this before. What exactly is a vomitory?
A what?
Place where you puke.
We've been told. So there's no tickets on sale on the North Stand anymore for the foreseeable future, because they are upgrading all safety barriers at the top of each vomitory in the upper tier of the North Stand. Now, first, I didn't realise it was an upper tier of the North Stand because it's just one stand. But secondary, what in the name of Satan is a vomitory? Anyone? A vomitory.
I've got. How are you spelling that? Vomit, as in vomit.
Vomit, yes, with an and then an R, and then a Y. Vomitory.
Oh, vomitory.
Surely it's what it says on the tin. I mean, obviously, for you chaps that do enjoy a beverage or two before the games, is that not some kind of special installation?
Well, yeah, but by this reckoning, I sit in the lower part of the lower tier of the North Stand, not the upper tier.
Okay, so I've just Googled it, James. I've put it into Bing. Now, if you see a tweet that I've just put out, Bing is cracking for humour. I just Googled SWFC news, thinking that there might be something on here, and I did a. And the picture of Stephen Fletcher that came up when you do that is hilarious. But however, I've just Googled vomitory and related to or inducing vomiting.
Yeah, I've got that. Yeah,
which is, given the shit that stand has seen for a while, I'm not surprised. There's also a Swedish death metal band called Vomitory.
What? Are we incorporating a Swedish band into our North Stand?
Yeah. Yeah, that's it. Yeah. So everybody's been moaning about the England band and the Wednesday band doing the Wednesday chants at the England games. No, it's not. It's a Swedish death metal band going no. Yeah, and then this one should clear it up for you. It's another term for a vomitorium.
Do you know what a vomitorium is, though? And again, I've Googled it. That's the only reason why.
I did Google it the other day. A vomitorium is each of a series of entrance or exit passages in an ancient Roman amphitheatre or theatre. Now, I know Hillsborough is a bit of an outdated stadium, but I'm not sure I'd refer to it as an ancient Roman amphitheatre. not quite yet.
Hills, though, like so, I understand where they're coming from.
There's a second definition of it as well. The second definition is a place in which, according to popular misconception, the ancient Romans are supposed to have vomited during feasts to make more room for food.
That's it. It's a new catering company. The food is that good that we can now make more room for more catering food. It's a brilliant business idea, actually, from Mr. Chansiri.
I reckon it's sometimes when you're on a bit of a session, you're out having a few beers and you realise that you're quite drunk. So what do? You go to the toilet and you make yourself throw up, and then you can carry on drinking. So what a vomitorium is there's going to be like a special, like dog poo bins in parks and stuff. We're going to have vomitoriums at the end of each row of the North Stand. So if you've had too many Belgian Blues in the Riverside before the game, you just throw them up in your vomitorium and you carry on drinking. It's genius.
That's amazing. I used to just call that a tactical sick. I didn't know it had a proper name.
It's now a vomitorium. So you'll be able to do that next time. Next time we're out on an away day session or something like that, you'll be able to just go, just off for a vomitorium, back in a mo.
Oh, brilliant. Yes, so if you do have any questions for the steering group, probably tweet them to maybe Wednesday night or something, because we're probably going to get kicked out. They're just not going to let us in the first place.
I'm sure James will be taking his muff with him anyway.
Am I allowed in with my muff?
I don't know.
I'll take it anyway. I'll smuggle it in.
Ask the question. Say, Mr. Chancellor, is it okay if I put my muff in your face? And just see what happens. I'm sure that you won't get thrown into the vomitorium or anything. Right, then.
That's not a nice thought.
Just a little bit of other Wednesday news. There's been a tweet this evening from the Sheffield Wednesday Supporters Club. Obviously, you can find that over there at Twitter as well. And the COP has had a little bit of a change over there, hasn't it, chaps?
Yeah, so we've now got, it's like a bit of a swap around. So we've now got the white seats on the COP now spell SWFC, which is what the white seats on the North Stand said before that they were changed to Chansiri. Just, be careful not to knock the vomitoriums off the end of the rows when they were changing the seats. But yeah, the COP, so I'm looking at a photo of it now, and it's quite strange. It's weird because we're used to it. It said the Owls before, didn't it? And it did have a picture of the owl, which was removed during the summer. But now it says SWFC. However, all the blue seats are still all different shades of blue. So it still looks a little bit tacky. But I quite like it, actually. It looks quite good.
It's strange, isn't it? Because we're so used to seeing, obviously, when we first got the COP changed way back when in the 90s, and we all thought, chuffing hell, that's amazing. And it's been like that sort of forevermore, but it looks odd, but it looks bigger, doesn't it?
It looks better than the hunchback owl that was on there before, which really was a bit of a deformed Derek, wasn't it? If I can say that. Can I say that?
I'm still determined one day to save up all my pennies and maybe sponsor the North Stand and just have my face on there. That'd be absolutely chuffing.
That'll put everybody off sitting in either stands, won't it? Yeah.
If you want to sponsor a stand at Hillsborough, the cheapest way of doing it is go and change your name by deed poll to Presto, and then you'll have been sponsoring a stand for the last 25 years.
Yeah. Do you think that's ever going to change? Ever? Because surely it'd just take a lick of paint.
Well, I wonder whether or not, we talked earlier about Fessi's fuzzball stadium that it's had made, because the away end there is completely different, isn't it? It's had a bit of a remodelling, and I'm just wondering, he's in the club every day, he's in the chairman's office quite a bit. I wonder whether or not he's seen some plans that the rest of us hasn't seen and knows something that we don't, nudge, nudge, wink, wink, Fessi.
Yeah. You heard the rumours here, first of all, on the Wednesday week, ladies and gents.
Whether you're celebrating a birthday, a wedding or anniversary, maybe you've passed your driving test, or you've landed a new job. Well, whatever your reason for a party, the Riverside Cafe is the perfect location on Catch Bar Lane overlooking Hillsborough Stadium. To inquire about hiring us for your function, call 07989 856 054 or 0114 232 6121.
James, I know you've been waiting for this for a whole year, Albin. Would you like to talk about Wolves away?
I wish it had been a year. It was in Was it April or was it May?
Yeah.
It wasn't
the
that
last
long.
game of the season, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was last game of the season.
Feels like it.
I feel like you should have a year to recuperate from an experience like going to Wolverhampton. It's unfair that we have to do it twice in one calendar year. It's just wrong. Well, that time has come. I have my T-shirt at the ready, I'm looking forward to it. I'm so excited about going to Wolverhampton that we're spending most of the day in Birmingham, which I think I've mentioned before on the podcast. And then literally at the last minute, we get the train to Wolverhampton, get in, get 3 points, get the hell out of there, back to Birmingham.
I'm excited about Wolverhampton because I believe it's some kind of concrete jungle. Like in the background, I'm expecting Alicia Keys just going, dun, 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 dun. Big Brum is trying to stab you. Welcome to Wolverhampton.
Have you not been before, Fudge?
I've not been to Wolverhampton. I've been to Molineux before, but I got driven in and driven out, so
right.
I didn't. I was only a teenager, so I'm excited about sucking it all in. Like I want to see homeless people in steps. I want to see a bloke selling meat from the side of a van because I feel like that still happens there.
Probably does, yeah.
I want to see a statue to John DeWolf. I'm assuming there's one of them somewhere. There must be.
And sucking it all in.
Yeah, and just a load of black countries just walking around talking about how Molineux is such a great stadium, like they have done for the past 40 years or however long it's been. I'm expecting big things from Wolverhampton on Saturday.
It's actually expected to be quite a large crowd as well because the vast majority of their stand for our appearances is half price for Wolves fans as well. I'm assuming that the Wednesday fans' away tickets haven't been half price there, Jay?
No, we pay £30 for the privilege of going to that shit tip. £30.
And of course, I think one of the other reasons it's going to be rather a large game is they do have a new manager as well. This is Mr. Lambert's first home game in charge of Wolves after their new owners removed Mr. Zenga from that particular position.
Yeah, that went well, didn't it? Yeah, it was Kenny Jackett they got rid of, wasn't it? For no reason. Sorry, Ken, you're out. All right, we're going to get Walter Zenga in.
And then they did the same, yeah.
Soz Waltz, you're out. You know what I mean? And then now they've got a new guy, which can either be a good or a bad thing for us. Do you know what I mean? I think it was Paul Lambert, isn't it, who took over from I want to say Brian Gunn at Norwich after losing to Paul Lambert's Colchester, and did they not win 7-1 or something ridiculous?
Something crazy like that.
Yes. Yeah. I remember that. So, you with your geeky stats.
I know, innit? I just remember because Brian Gunn is like a hero for Norwich City, and there were people throwing their season tickets at him, and it was the first game of the season. I'm thinking, Jesus, you're in for a boring year. You know what I mean? Like, imagine writing off to the club saying, I've lost my season ticket, can I have a new one? And them going, well, hang on, is it one of these we swept up outside the at the front of the ground? No, it's a different one. It's different, Mr. Johnson. Do you know what I mean?
Was Dom Howson a Wolves fan back then as well?
No, he's a Norwich fan as well. Yeah, he is. Yeah, that's what he does.
But no, I mean, Wolves have had somewhat of an influx of pennies, haven't they, from their new Chinese investors. This is what I feared would happen to us, obviously, when Milan was trying to sell us. But again, as we've seen, Milan was very, very responsible when it came to all that kind of thing. And obviously, we ended up with Ms. Chansiri. But is this really showing that that new Wolves team are going to be the new Wolves investors are going to be a little bit sacky? Is this the modern football, and is this something that is going to be a little bit worrying for the Wolves fan on the day?
I don't know. I mean, look, Kenny Jackett didn't deserve to get sacked, but you get that sometimes with foreign investors when they come in. We actually had exactly the same. Mr. Chansiri came in and he sacked Stuart Gray when most people probably thought he didn't really deserve to get sacked. So in that sense, we were no difference. Walter Zenga, who's the only manager that's ever had a KFC burger named after him, it just didn't happen for him, did it? It just didn't work.
A fully loaded meal?
Yeah. Walter fully loaded. Yeah, it just didn't work for him. He was the wrong guy to bring in, and yeah, for whatever reason, Paul Lambert, unfortunately, is probably a decent appointment for them in the position that they're in. Even though I cannot stand him, and I feel an urge to commit violence towards the television when I see him being interviewed. I've never known someone with such a annoying, droning, awful voice. And I would love us to beat them just so that I can enjoy listening to him go on TV and whine on in his horrible, vile Scottish voice about how they didn't deserve to lose or whatever crap he'll come out with. I'm not a fan of Paul Lambert. I'm really not. But I actually think he'll do a decent job for them. Is it a good time to play them? Why do we always seem to end up playing teams when they've just changed their manager? Because I feel like I say this all the time. I just don't know. It might be a good time to play them. It might be a really bad time to play them. Hopefully, it's just a little bit too soon for them to have got their shit together under Paul Lambert, and we can go there at a time when they're still finding their feet a bit, and hopefully nab the win.
Yeah, they've not been great just recently, have they? Let's face it. They lost to Leeds, they drew with Blackburn, lost to Derby, and I think at the weekend did they draw with Preston? Drew with the weekend, somebody like that. And I mean, I vaguely sort of wished over the highlights and things, and
it was a 0-0, wasn't it? It was a pretty dull game. The problem with it is you always kind of expect a team when they appoint someone that knows a little bit about the game and about the league, that at some point they're going to put a string of wins together, aren't they? And it's just whether or not you catch them at the right time or whether you catch them at the wrong time. That said, I don't think they've got a particularly brilliant squad there. I don't think it's a fantastic team. A lot of their players have no idea who they really are, which sometimes works, sometimes doesn't, and the evidence would suggest that it's not really worked there. Maybe it's better that we play them now, because I suspect that they'll go out and spend loads of money in January. So a few more weeks' time, you might be finding that you're playing a much more difficult Wolves team.
Absolutely. Right. I mean, the only other thing is we need to get a sort of a Game Boy Color sent out to Fessi, really, really sharpish, with a nice little Wednesday logo on there, don't we? Just so he's all in the mood for that game.
Why don't we send him a Spectrum at the same time as well?
As long as it's got a Wednesday badge on it, we'll be absolutely fine. Right then, ladies and gents. So that's going to sort of start to bring us towards an end of this week's show. Jamesy, old boy, do you have any bits for us before we are on our way?
Yeah, just something that I've got to mention, really, which is that there's a guy that will be known to some people because of his involvement in various kind of Sheffield Wednesday Facebook forums. He's actually a guy who's contributed more to this podcast than anyone, including himself, has ever really known, who unfortunately hasn't been very, very well of late, and sadly lost his battle against cancer last week. And that's a chap called Steve Ball, who, as I say, will be known to a lot of fans, and certainly a name that a lot of people will recognise from Facebook forums. He's been a Wednesday fan, well, for forever and a day, and someone that I would often bump into at home games and away games. As I say, he's not been very well. I must confess the fact that I don't know if this is common knowledge or not, but I do like a beer before a football game, and very often I find the next morning I wake up and I can't remember anything about the match. Steve's match reports on Facebook was something that I became fairly reliant on to remind myself of what had happened, and actually sometimes to point me in the direction and show me something that I'd completely missed. He was able to see things during the game that I, as a fan, could only really dream of being able to spot and analyse. And Steve sadly passed away last week. He'll be, he'll be a gaping hole that's left for a lot of the Wednesday community and the Wednesday family, and all my thoughts with his family at this moment in time.
Absolutely. Unfortunately, it's not been the best of week for that kind of scenario. There was another Wednesday night, David Lowe, that unfortunately passed away in a scuba diving accident out in Australia as well. So I'm sure if you keep an eye on the social medias, there'll be various tributes planned and those sorts of things for those chaps as well. Right then, chaps, do we have any other little bits for this evening?
I have 3.
Ooh, jumping hell, Fudge has got bits.
Yeah,
Jesus.
I've got 3. Now, I'm going to try and condense these rather quickly. This rumour that went onto the cop end today about Ebanks Landell, right load of old shit. Don't give it the time of day.
Absolutely.
The fact that people are talking about it genuinely, I think, has made me some of the ill. Also, this story about Kieran Westwood going to Aston Villa, that's not even a story. I've never seen anything like it. It just says Villa might need a goalkeeper. Who's a good goalie? He is. Mint. Yeah, they might sign him. Cool story, fam. That's it. That's essentially how the story went. And the biggest news, again, that's a right load of old shit. And the biggest news, and it's with dear sadness that I have to say this, and I'm sorry that Eddie's not here, but Luke Bowden has been released from Orlando.
Oh no! I've not got. That's it. Cancel all trips to Florida. We're not going.
After 5 long years, they've taken up the option to not play him anymore.
He's done bad playing with Kaká this year, hasn't he?
Well, he's done all right. So after 5 years, Orlando City have released a man. So I don't know what he's going to do. Whether he'll come back to Sheffield after living in Florida, I doubt it. But if you're not earning, you've got to come home, son. You know what I mean? It's how it works.
You knew got him out there originally, don't you?
It was it James O'Connor?
It certainly was. I bumped into it. Well, I went to Florida probably 5-6 years ago, and I got my yellow Wednesday shirt on at the time. I was walking through this big supermarket, and across the way, I recognise him, little ginger kid. Turned around, James O'Connor. Of all the bloody places to meet him, and he was playing for Wednesday at the time. He was just on holiday there, literally as we were. So yeah, it's the most bizarre meeting of a Wednesday player I've ever had, I think.
That is mental all the way out there. Yeah. So that's my little bits that I've got. We're not signing any Sheffield United players because why would we? Aston Villa have not tabled a bid, sent a fax, sent a text message, politely inquired over a lovely glass of Chablis about Kieran Westwood. And Luke Bowden doesn't play for Orlando anymore. So there's some news on again another slow news week.
Can I have another one? Because I feel like we've had quite a lot of sad stuff in there. So I want to finish on something that I saw this week, which is the best thing that I've ever seen in football. Genuinely is, and this happened to Peterborough at the weekend, and their player, who's called Michael Bostwick. Now I've got to point out at this point that Peterborough were playing in luminous orange. Michael Bostwick gets the ball in midfield and plays what looks like it's a brilliant pass to their winger, except it turns out that it's just the steward walking down the side of the pitch, and the ball just trickles out for a throw in, and the steward just kind of stares, looking at the ball as it comes towards him. If you've not seen the video on Twitter or on wherever, you just search it out because it's just brilliant. It's the favourite thing that I've seen probably this year.
Cracking control though from the steward when he does reach it. Puts his left peg on it and absolutely just stops it still. He's done well.
I don't know if you saw the week before Peterborough as well. The Peterborough mascot was out in his little Peterborough mascot type shirt as well, and the referee actually sent him off the pitch because his shirt clashed with the players' shirts as well. Of course, can you imagine if somebody sent Ozzy off? But seriously, if you're stood in the middle of the football pitch and you see a 9-foot owl walking down the street that just happens to have the same shirt on as you, don't pass him the chuffing. But what's wrong with these people?
Ozzy's not 9 foot tall.
I bet he's not far off.
I've seen him sat at a bar in the New Barrack Tavern. He's not 9 foot tall.
His big eyes are closed.
That's just a little stool.
That's a bit harsh. I wouldn't call him that.
Right then, Richie Olbean, if people want to get hold of you over there on the social media.
Hang on. I've got a little bit. You're jumping the gun here.
I apologise. Fire away.
Just forget. That's it. Wash Rich away. Get him to give his Twitter handle and bugger off. That's it. Go on. First of all, you get rid of me. Where are they now? And now you're just trying to get, I wanted to reminisce about a player.
Reminisce away.
You might remember it. It's a grumpy old owls. You'll remember this one. A guy called Colin West.
Absolutely.
Colin West.
I'm not going to ask you where is he now. Don't worry. There's not at all. He once took a penalty at the Cop End, and it's one of those where the ball's still probably in orbit because it hit the back of the Cop. Today, I've seen something that reminded me of that, and I've actually.
I know what you're going to mention. Is this the where is it in Serbia? Wow.
Serbia, yeah. So this guy's actually just done the keeper, done a defender, gone through, and literally rolled it onto the line, and from the line cleared the bar with the ball. I just got all kind of, got all reminiscent of Colin West for a moment. It was probably worse than Colin West's shot. Probably beats the Ronnie Rosenthal effort at Villa and all that kind of stuff. But
it was bad.
But I've tweeted that on the Wednesday week, so on Twitter. So have a look at that.
Fantastic.
Rich, by the way, Colin West, now assistant manager to Keith Curle at Carlisle, if you're wondering.
Yay!
Just dropping that in there.
I hate you. I really do, James, sometimes. I don't have time. I just love you.
Oh, I love you guys. So, Rich, if people do want to see not just that tweet, but all of your regular tweets as well, where can we do that, Holby?
You can find me at Dickie Owl on Twitter.
Fantastic, thank you. And Jamesy, oh boy, if people want to find you over there on the Twitter, where can we do that?
Yeah, on Twitter, I am at James Marriott. Anyone that is heading to Wolves at the weekend, me and Fudge will be there. 2 games in a row that me and Fudge have actually done together. This is like some kind of record. And it's the second of 3 away games in a row that we're doing together, remarkably. But yeah, as I mentioned, me and my kind of motley crew will be hanging in Birmingham for most of the day and then going through to Wolves last minute. So anyone that's doing that's knocking around in Birmingham and wants to grab a beer, then come say hi. We've got to mention as well to Samido Day on Twitter, whose Twitter is still Samido Day, and his friends. I think is his name Matt. You'll remember better than I will, Fudge, because I've been drunk every time I've met them. But anyway, they came for a drink, and it was good to see them before the Fulham game. So a big hello to them.
Yep.
Absolutely. And of course, Fudgy, obviously you're going to be part of James's motley crew, apparently hanging in Birmingham, which is rather worrying. But if people want to find you over there on the Tinterwebs, where can we do that, Albie?
I'm at Dan Fudge on Twitter, but I'm unsure on Birmingham yet. I might just be trotting through Wolverhampton singing "Welcome to Wolverhampton" with Alicia Keys just playing across.
Will you be carrying James's coat as well?
Oh, well, I need somebody's coat to carry. You know what I mean? I've got enough to do.
You'll be carrying, because Vic's coming with us as well, so you'll be carrying Vic's coat. She will be special guest for the day.
Oh well, that's just lovely.
There's a possibility you could be carrying Vic by the end of the day as well. And of course, chaps, I did notice something that I forgot to mention. Facebook, you guys popped some wonderful videos out whilst you were away over there at Fulham as well. Can we expect more of that on our Facebook Live type thing?
Well I'll tell you what it was.
Did we?
I remember, James. Yeah, there was this girl that worked in this pub in Putney. And she was beautiful. And I needed to speak to her. So what I did, I went, James, we'll get her on the show. Why? For no reason. I just need to speak to her. So if you go into our Facebook, there's me trying to have this half English, half Spanish, Spanglish conversation with this Argentinian chick from Mendoza talking about Malbec wine. It's painful to say the least.
What you talking a language she had no idea what the fuck you're on about? Is it
not
pretty much like that? Yeah.
I'm good. Is it Mendoza or Mendoza? She's got Mendoza, and I'm like, brilliant, good bounce.
I must admit, this is the first time I've spoken about this, isn't it, for Joe B? But watching the video, the impression I got was Fudgy just wanted to speak to this rather attractive young lady.
I'm glad that came across. It did not come in the doghouse at all.
Unfortunately, though, she had naffle personality.
No, I didn't want her to talk.
Someone said, "Son, you can't fuck a personality."
A very insightful chap, Holby. Of course, if you'd like to get hold of me over there on the Twitter, you can do that at Lord H, that's L0RD_H. You can get hold of the podcast and see, obviously, Rich's video over there too at TWWcast. Please do pop over to the Facebook page and follow us over there. So when Mr. Fudgy does find another rather attractive young lady to speak to, or if Victoria finds a rather attractive young gentleman to speak to for those of the other persuasion, by all means, pop over there and keep an eye out for those as well. Ladies and gents, it's been a pleasure, as always. Be good, be safe, and we shall see you
real soon.
Here's a chance